have like all these different windows open. Go live anyway. I don't know if I need a separate name for it. The event has a
now
name.
it's streaming.
So can you say, this is the first time I've ever hosted a Zoom reception, but Patty, did you mute yourself or do I have to?
Oh,
Do you want me to?
I did myself. Hello.
All right.
hi. Thanks for joining us all the way from Oregon, Patty.
Of course, I'm excited.
Excellent.
Well, we wanted to start with some introductions of other people, and then the artist. We'll get to. I'll introduce her a little bit, but then the artist will have some things to say, and she has some work to share. Shanda, did you hide your face?
Well, I did, but I just heard here. I can get back on. There we go.
We love your face. That's so
Join us.
we actually have a lot of art teachers here today.
Oh, okay, cool.
And probably some more people. Let's see. I want to make sure I don't ignore anybody who wants to get in, but let's just get started with introductions. So the 4 owners here of Studio 176 are here. So that's me, Tiffany Bessanen, and Dawn Rosbach, she'll wave her hand, and Jeremy Simonson, and Laura Grismore.
Hello.
We started Studio 176 almost a year ago, and we've been having a great time, and COVID, you know, kind of threw wrenches in, you know, everybody's lives, but so we're adjusting. So Alice is here from Bemidji, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know Tammy.
Yes.
Great. Great to have you. Mary Kay is here from Memphis. Are you in Memphis right now, Mary Kay?
I am in my studio today. So
Great.
I have just been following Studio 176 as Tiffany has posted things, and thought this looks like an interesting group tonight. So
Yeah, great to have you. Mary Kay is an artist that I met at a workshop in Minneapolis, but I've been to visit her in Memphis since. And she's very much an artist, but she was an art teacher too for many, many years, and now just full-time artist, right? Traveler.
Yeah.
Great. Who else do we have here? Jill just joined us.
Hi,
Hi, Jill. Thanks for joining us.
I'm a friend of Tammy's.
Great, great to have you. And Patty's been here. Patty's from Oregon, and you know Tammy.
Jill and Patty and I go way back.
Oh, fun.
Great. And Shanda is another art teacher. Well, wait,
Yes.
retired, newly retired art teacher, right?
Yes, yes.
Oh, congratulations.
You
I'm out
walking-
walking the dog, and I got the alert, and it's like, oh my gosh, can I walk the dog and do this?
Yes, you
I
can.
think you can.
Awesome.
You can.
I
That's
have the
great.
poopy bag and all, so too
Well,
much.
great. I'm glad to know that the alert worked.
Yes. I thought it's been so fun to see what you guys are both doing. So I just thought this is awesome. I don't know how long I can be on, but I wanted to say hi
Well,
and wish good luck.
thanks.
And Tammy, I just love the things you're doing. You're so inspiring. Just
Oh,
love it.
thank you, Shanda. Thanks. I miss the times when we hang out at the Art Educators of Minnesota stuff.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah.
was like feels like eons ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really bummer with the national convention not being
Right. It was going to be in Minnesota.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
A
so
lot.
many things.
A lot of work went into that, didn't it?
right.
Are we going to host it next year? Or it's just going to
No,
Chicago.
it's just going to Chicago.
Yeah.
It was already on the books for Chicago, and it's kind of like, I don't even think they're bumping anything over to that because they already had things in the works the last I heard.
Right, they had
So-
reserved things. And so did I miss
Right.
anybody? So, you know, the honored guest here is Tammy. She's been our featured artist for the month of July. And it's been great to have your work, and it's still up through the last day?
Yeah. Let's see. So Jeremy and Laura and I were talking today that maybe at the end of the day on Friday, that's the 31st. Maybe that's
Okay.
when it comes down.
Great,
And then the next persons can go up for Saturday.
great.
That's kind of what we were talking about today.
Okay,
So,
well, and that next person, Vicky, may be joining us here.
okay.
And she's not on yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, so Tammy and I met, we were figuring 18 years ago at a Split Rock art workshop.
Yes.
And she had 2 little kids. I had 1 kid, and we were very much concerned about, toddlers and babies.
Yes. And how do you keep making your own art when you have toddlers and babies? Yeah.
Right.
And a job. Yeah.
And
so
teaching job, yes. So Tammy is an artist, but also teaches elementary art. And I'll let you say more, Tammy.
yeah, so always been trying to find the time for myself, as well as, take care of the people that are important to me, and so that balancing act has been kind of the story of my life, I guess. But I know that that it's a good thing to feed the artist in me. It's just really a good thing to not neglect that part, because I think it makes me better at the other parts, of life,
Mm-hmm.
to make sure I don't leave myself out. So yeah, just little, when I make art in kind of fits and starts, so I admire you, Tiffany, and how you seem to be able to keep a rhythm of creating going, and like you explore those ideas, and I think I like go for like a marathon, and then I set it aside for a while, and then another marathon.
You just
So-
have to do what works. That's
Yeah.
yeah. I'm not really a routine person, but as soon as I get crabby,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's my signal also. Yeah, if I notice myself getting crabby, then I know it's time to carve out
Yeah.
some time. Yeah.
sometimes even feeling sick,
Oh, sometimes. Yeah,
Mhm.
that has happened to me before.
Great.
That art is good for you. Yes.
It
Oh,
is. I
yeah.
mean, it's been proven.
Body, soul,
so-
mind.
Right.
Exactly.
And like, you don't have to be a person who's planning to show the art. I mean, I am a big proponent of, like, everybody benefits from, just making some marks on a paper or canvas, or yeah,
Right.
it just makes you feel good. At least
Right.
yeah.
So the name of your show is Paint and Hike.
Yep, that's also my website, paintandhike.com. So that's just when I was coming up with the name, I thought, well, what do I love? What's my thing? I mean, I love to be outside. I love to walk. I love to paint, and that's me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Great. Anybody have questions, burning questions right in the beginning? Because Tammy has some select images that she wants to share that are in the show right now. And she has great stories for every single one of her images. It's so great to be hosting her, because if people are looking at these things, then she has, the story written down right there on her image list.
And as Tammy talks about things, if you have a question, while she's talking, you can throw it in the chat and we'll catch it as we go on.
Right. Yeah, and let me know. I might miss the chat box, so somebody will speak up,
yeah,
right? Okay.
We'll find it.
All right. So is my screen sharing right now?
Yes, good job.
Yes.
All right. So this one is the one that like, Jill's familiar with this one, I know, because she's mentioned before that she likes this one. And Alice might be familiar with this spot if she's been to Lake Bemidji State Park. So the Bog Walk in Lake Bemidji State Park, when you get to the end of the Bog Walk, then there's a place that looks sort of like this. When I'm making my art, I'm not really trying to I'm not trying to do photorealism. I'm trying to just capture the essence of what I noticed. So so this one is called Bog Walk, Lost Keys, because on a walk here with my daughter, we were walking and we sat down for a while, and then we walked back to the car. And when we got back to the car, we didn't have the keys. So the keys were somewhere in that bog, and we went back, we retraced our steps, we got down in the bog underneath the bench where we sat, and we really spent a lot of time, went back the next day, never found those keys. And then the next spring, so that was like Thanksgiving weekend, and then the next spring I thought, well, I'll just check in at the ranger office, and can't hurt to ask. And she held up some keys. Do you mean these keys? So somebody had turned them in April, so my keys were in that bog for all winter. And
That's amazing.
yeah, so that was great. I'm glad we had a spare set, but my husband needed to come save us from, he had to come pick us up and bring the extra keys. So that was quite an ordeal. Now, let's see, to use the little arrow to go to the next one, I might have to back up because the people on the side there, the pictures of the people on the side are over the arrow. So let's see what else we got here. So another thing that's really interesting to me is knitting and yarn. And this one was also at the Benedictine Center in St. Paul for a show called Seeing God. And it's, I just feel like when you're knitting, you're like spending your time. And time, like if you read the stuff that I write, I think a lot about time. And so like knitting is the act of giving your time to someone, because what you made represents a lot of all that time. And then
Right.
Again, I don't like to try to make things photorealistic. I like to just suggest a thing from reality, but put it in a setting that's, more imaginary. Okay,
Great.
that's
Go back to that one though, will you?
yeah. So that, yes.
If you
So is that
hover,
watercolor?
Yes, and some ink pen,
Okay.
a brown ink pen.
'Cause I
And
love the way it looks
yeah.
So did you resist the
Yes,
white
the
areas?
white.
Okay.
Yep, I had a resist pen. So
Oh.
first I drew the image with a resist pen, and when that dried, I painted. And after I rubbed away the resist, then I added the details with the brown pen.
Oh, I didn't even know they made one of those.
yeah, I need to get one of those too.
Yeah. Cool.
My recommendation is don't let that pen sit after you first use it. Then you gotta like use it because if it sit I
Yeah.
made a lot of pieces using that pen, and then the pen sat for about 2 weeks, and it was a bear to try to get it to work again because it dried inside.
We got another participant coming in, Lynn.
Oh,
Lynn?
thank you.
Lynn Middleton.
Hello, Lynn. And it's okay to unmute and say hi, Lynn. Lynn is a friend of mine she's from the Studio 321 in the Northrop King building,
Oh,
and
great.
from school, and she has a connection to the area, to Park Rapids. So welcome, Lynn. She might
Thank
be too
you.
shy to, oh, good. I thought you might be too shy to say something, but I'm glad you did. Thanks.
No, I'm not shy.
Okay. All right. Thanks,
Great.
Lynn.
So I just have a question, Tammy. You mentioned in college, one of those experiences where an instructor
Uh-oh.
discouraged you from doing something that you were just totally enjoying, weaving.
Mhm.
And I was thinking about your work today. I was thinking about how so much of it is woven, whether it be knitting or your daughter's woven hair.
Yes.
Or just the overlapping, and some of it isn't as mathematical, some of it is but if you know me, I love seeing the order here in the knitting, and then it goes out into flow,
Right.
I love that.
Right. Yeah, I was telling Tiffany about in college, in architecture class, they gave us the assignment of create something beautiful, and that's it. they wanted us to kind of have a break from the technical aspects of things. And I made something out of woven, like cut up pieces of metal and wove them together. And I really liked that, but the professor didn't like it.
Oh,
So,
geez.
yeah, so that's okay.
Oh, well.
That's all
But,
right.
I mean, I think it stuck with you. You're
It did.
like, no, I need to do that. I just need to do it.
Yeah, I just needed to do that. And
Good.
yeah, and you're right. Like in this one, it's the way the hair like overlaps, kind of similar to the way that the knitting looks. And then I love leaves, and so yeah. And so my daughter did like to wear flowers in her hair, and she liked to just do crazy stuff with her hair. Like you can see the like little braids on the side here and another little braid up here, and yeah. So that I thought that really captured her personality,
Right. And
Yeah.
is this another one where you painted a paper with no plan and then you went back
Yes.
to it later and
Yes, this one was one where the background was painted first, and then I had the idea to make that drawing. I think after seeing the I was at a weaver's in Studio 321. There's a weaver, Kelly Marshall, and I was visiting her studio, and she had the strings that she was going to weave with all kind of twisted up. It looked a lot like this hair.
oh yeah.
And so all those things kind of connect in my brain.
Great.
Yeah. Oh, more yarn. Okay. Yeah, and this one's called Fading. So this one, in my description of this, I talked about when I was a kid and I would watch my mom knit, and I was fascinated by the way it comes off the skein. I don't know if anybody's ever paid attention to the way yarn comes off the skein in a pattern, and it's fading yarn. This one I used that pen, that resist pen for this one. And this one was just all about just let the colors flow.
Did you paint that first?
No, I did the white
Okay.
lines first. So in some places I let the color cross the line, and some places I didn't. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Thanks.
We do have a couple of comments from Natalie over on Facebook, and she was
Okay.
talking about college art classes always had me struggling, but I think it really made me find what I really liked and where my style lied. So great story. And then she also commented on the leave one, which she said is really beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think it's important to be open-minded in classes, I think, because that teacher always has something to teach you. Like maybe what they are asking you to do might not be exactly where your art is headed right then, but you can still learn something from that person.
Right.
Yeah. So so thanks, Natalie, for that comment. So this one is one where I painted the background first, and it's on Yupo paper. So I was experimenting with Yupo paper.
Oh,
And then that one sat without any lines on it for a really long time. And then I knew I wanted to make a drawing with the trees. Boundary Waters, there's a campsite in the Boundary Waters that this is based on. And I was pleased that I was able to create those rock-like shapes and let them kind of be subtle. That was after the paint was dry. The great thing about Yupo paper is that you can change it indefinitely until you seal it. So when I decided it was done, I sprayed it with like a Krylon spray to seal it. But up until you do that, you can just always go back in and change it.
Right. It doesn't absorb anything, right?
Right. It's like a plastic. Yeah.
It looks like Lynn knows about Yupo paper.
Yes.
Does Lynn know about
Lynn and
Yupo
I
paper?
have.
Isn't it
Yep.
great?
Lynn and I have painted on Yupo paper side by side. Yeah, that same piece, you can just keep playing with it until you like what you have. Yeah, so you never waste it. So that's great. Let's see. And okay, so then I'm going to go back to, let's see here. Anybody who follows any of my social media knows that I love raspberries. So
awesome.
love raspberries. So when you see those leaves and you know if it's the right time of year, there's raspberries coming. And there's another resist pen one, and that one I went to a North Star Watercolor Society paint out. I think that was 2 years ago. So this was in an urban area, but there was some milkweed growing there, and everybody else was painting the St. Paul skyline, and I liked the milkweed plant. So, you know, no matter where you are, you know, you choose what you focus on.
Right.
And this one came from my imagination, just had an idea about misty layers of landscape, just trying to keep it loose. And that's what that one is.
Yeah, that one was recent, wasn't it?
Yeah, that one was pretty recent. And then, let's see.
Do you have any of the anything that you are working on right now by chance?
What I'm working on right now, well, I have what I just finished.
Okay, good. I didn't see the
Yeah.
finished product.
Oh.
Yeah, so
Ooh.
that's one in recent days, I posted the steps to this one. And this is one I actually started way back in June in the Zoom meeting with my after-school art kids. My after-school art kids asked for you know, an end of the year Zoom time. So that was really pleasant. I hope that they liked it too. We basically all just had cameras on ourselves as we made art, and you know, like 5 minutes would go by with nobody saying anything, and then somebody would hold something up to the camera like help me figure out what to do next, you know.
That's great. And what
Yeah.
age were they?
5th grade, 4th grade, 3rd grade.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fabulous.
So
So how large is this?
this one is 11 by 15 only. Yeah.
Okay.
That's about as big as I work with, just because that's the size of my scanner. So
Oh.
if I make anything bigger, then I have to, you know, use some other process to make a digital image
yeah.
of it. So I was just, my after school art kids love the tape process, you know, where you put some tape down on paper and then you paint crazy and then you pull the tape up and it looks cool. And that's how this one started. And it was just random blobs of color at the end of that time. And then it became the branch and the leaves. And now I think it's about a lot of opposites, you know, like
Yeah.
geometric, organic, inside, outside, you know,
Man-made,
man-made, human-made.
natural. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It reminded me that you had studied architecture when you were working on it. I was like, well, that's interesting. You know, that's it's like how you started and then where you've gone, where you've branched off.
Do you feel that that you studied architecture for a bit plays into your work much, or?
Yeah, I think so. I think that that way back then, I think I chose architecture because I wanted something art related, but you know, I felt like it needed to be like a, you know, like doctor, lawyer, architect, you know, like in that category.
Yeah.
So, but I let go of that after I realized I didn't really want to design new buildings. I just thought buildings were cool to look at, you know, so.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Heidi studied architecture as well.
Yeah, our featured
last
artist.
featured artist.
Right, in June, she was also started with architecture and didn't
Okay.
finish, went on to study art. Yeah,
Oh,
interesting.
yeah, I think it was when I had a student job in an architecture firm, and I saw how I don't know, I didn't feel like that was it didn't fit me. So
Right.
yeah.
Lynn has a question. It might have been from a different image though, because she asked what drawing tool did you use, and it was from a few minutes ago. About
It was-
5 minutes ago.
It was, I was curious about what you used to draw on the Yupo, Tammy.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it was Tombow pen, I think. And no, you know what? I think I have to look at it again to remind myself. Because sometimes I use a Sharpie, sometimes I use a Micron illustration pen, and sometimes I use Tombow markers. But I found that the Micron illustration pens, they get clogged up. So, so it kind of wrecks your pen to use that. So you're talking about the Boundary Waters one?
Yeah,
Where
yes.
did my Boundary Waters one go? Back up.
While you're looking for that, Natalie also says branched off. Caught that pun, Tiffany, and she,
Branched off.
and she said it reminds me of stained glass also. Yeah. it
Oh,
does.
yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah,
beautiful.
thank you. That's
Right.
a good connection. Yeah, Lynn, that's a Micron illustration pen.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
and
do you-
eventually it fizzled. Yeah.
Do you find that either one of those tools, do they not smear on Yupo, or are they still pretty smeary?
They're still pretty smeary. Yeah. A Sharpie is probably the least smeary and
Okay.
lasts the longest. And then the gray, my cursor is going over those rocks back there. That was, yeah, I took a brush and purposely smeared the ink.
The beauty of Yupo.
Beauty of Yupo. Yep. Always movable. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And when I first met Tiffany, I was totally into bridges. In that class, she wanted us to do a series, and I did like 30 pictures of the same bridge. And Tiffany was doing pears back then, and sheep.
Oh.
Sheep
Yeah.
and pears. Yeah.
Pears, yeah.
Which bridge
And
was
lovely.
it? I can't remember which bridge you
The bridge I chose for that class,
were
it was
recreating.
yeah, back in that class, it was just a picture from a calendar, you know, so it was
Oh, okay.
some bridge I had never been to.
Yeah.
But this one is the bridge at Lake Phelan. So it's a walking, there's a stream under it and a walking space on top of it. And that one I did recently. That one was in the summer. I can't remember exactly when, but it was not too long ago. So Yupo paper again. And also poetry is a big thing that I'm interested in. So this is a work in progress that may or may not continue. Jigsaw puzzles are another big so poetry. Poetry and jigsaw puzzles are in here. So part of Red Wing Arts poetry artist collaboration. So I was linked up with a specific poem from a specific poet, Mim Kegel's poem,
Oh, cool.
Reverie with the Fox. And so there's some words from the poem there. And underneath, I did a rubbing of a jigsaw puzzle. So that's what all those little shapes are jigsaw pieces underneath. But this one is,
I see.
yeah, but this one is just in process. I made a bunch of these. The one that I finally turned in, let's see. Nope, not that one.
Oh,
That's interesting.
yeah.
That was
Okay.
nice.
Great.
Okay, this was the one that I turned
Oh.
in for that. And so because of COVID, it couldn't be an in-person show. It was a virtual
Okay.
show.
That's gorgeous.
And thank you. That's colored pencil and a paint pen, a white paint pen, because I love the white lines. But I started using colored pencil when COVID first happened, because it's what I had at home, and I just loved it. You know, it reminded me of being a kid with my colored pencil. You know, and white drawing on black paper.
They make
is fun.
really good colored pencils nowadays.
They
Yeah.
do. Yeah, they really do. So this was based on her poem Reverie with a Fox, and it's kind of about coming across a wild animal when you're not expecting it, you know, just that like sudden interaction with nature that makes you like just realize that, you know, there's more to the world than just us humans, you know.
Yeah.
So,
And there's something about
foxes.
foxes that when they, I don't know, this is my issue maybe, but there's something kind of spooky about foxes. Like they they make eye contact. It's like they're
Mhm.
kind of trying to talk to you telepathically. You know, I don't know. There's something really special about foxes, I think.
I notice a lot of people are really enamored with foxes. Yeah, there's something about the fox that is intriguing to people and to me too. And then I know Patty's here, and the last time Patty and I went for a walk, after Patty had to go, a fox crossed my path like about a half hour after that. Yeah,
Wow.
and Jill, it was after our phone call too. So yeah, so it was just like, wow, that so a fox crossed my path too in real
Yeah.
life. Yeah.
I made,
Oh, go ahead.
I embarrassed my daughters once because there was a dead fox on the road. So, of course, I had to stop and take photos of it,
Oh, and she was mortified.
you know, and then
Yeah.
they're like, when we got to where we're going, my daughters are like, sorry, we're late. I'm like,
Mom
why
had
were we late?
to,
Mom had to take
Mom
photos
had
of
to
dead
photo a
fox.
fox.
But it, you know, they're good posers when they're dead.
When they're good. Yep. This one
Yeah, this
I
is
just
intriguing.
like just because I like the kind of plain, kind of textured background, and dandelions are something people are always trying to get rid of, but no, why? There's nothing wrong with dandelions.
I love
Yeah.
the composition on this. You know, it just there's a simplicity to it, but at the same time, it's so rich in the texture and the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost like Northern Lights, sort of. You know, kind of.
Cool.
Behind. It's got a lot of
this-
movement.
Tammy, is this Yupo paper again?
Nope, this is regular Arches 140-pound watercolor paper.
Oh, okay. Great.
Yeah. Yep. This is one I made on site, you know, so it's small. So when I go hiking and take painting stuff with me, I usually work like 4x6 or 5x7.
Oh, okay.
So it all fits in the backpack without, yeah, I don't like carrying more than is necessary when I'm out hiking.
Did you have time in Itasca to do any sketching or painting?
Not really. No, it was no, we pretty much just did the tourist thing and left again. So, you know, walked across
No, that's okay.
walked across the beginning of the river there, which I love to do. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love going to Itasca. There's just something about that. Yeah. That beginning of something enormous.
Mhm.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah, and you take it for granted when you live here, but
Right.
you got to get some of these people who aren't from Minnesota to come up at this time of year and walk across the water.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And oh, this is also Red Wing Arts had a
Does
plein air.
anybody? Oh, great.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just going to give a shout out to my cousin Terry, though. She just joined on. She's watching on Facebook Live. So
Hi, Terry.
Hi, Terry. This is in Red Wing. They had a plein air festival, and so I brought a canvas board. And I find that's another material I am enjoying lately is watercolor on a canvas board. And then at the end, I add details with, or actually this one I drew it in pen first. I drew it in Tombow markers first. And then as I painted, the Tombow marker ink kind of faded, and then I think I must have added some white paint pen at the end.
That's great.
My process is very like in the moment, you know, my process is very much like, oh, it needs a white thing here. What will show up really white right there? Oh, the paint pen. Okay, so, and then sometimes I forget, you know, what did I do? How did I do
right.
that? 'Cause-
Yeah.
yeah, because
Yeah.
it's always just different. It's always,
Intuitive. Right.
yeah, just in the moment. And I have thought a lot lately about like in college you're taught like the correct processes, you know, and I don't think it's important to stick to those. So I think it's important to learn them, but I
Right.
don't think it's important to stick to them. Yeah, because there's reason you got to know the rules before you can break the rules, right? In art, anyway, I think. So that bench there,
Exactly.
yeah.
Does anybody have questions or anyone have questions or requests to see certain work?
Oh, there's some things in the chat.
I am so glad you had a
Lovely,
bridge.
Beautiful. Well, both
I thought of
the
you,
top.
Tiffany.
Yeah.
What did Don say? I'm sorry.
Oh, a couple of comments, no questions, but a couple comments. Love the window with leaves. Beautiful. Love both the box pieces. Lovely dandelion.
Oh, very
So,
good.
there is comments from Mary, Lynn, and Shonda.
Oh,
Okay.
that's where the chat is.
Oh.
Cool.
Yeah, and this is an example of like my process of painting the paper first with no plan, and then I decide what I'm gonna put in it. So this was Yupo paper, and that little sun, I took that out after, you know. So sometimes just a little suggestion of something. Oh, and the
Right.
reflections in the water there, that's wiped out later.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is, oh, I thought I was putting in the cover of that book, but this is not the cover of the book. Sorry if Mickey's here. Oh, Mickey said she couldn't come, but
Similar.
Mickey Blankish is a poet, and one of my paintings is on the cover of her book, but it's not this one. Okay, so it looks a lot like this one, but poems really do inspire me and give me a lot of fuel. And so I read her poem called Now We Will Speak in Flowers, and that fueled a whole series of flower pictures for me. And then she
that's
chose
the name
one.
of the book.
And that's the name of the book. Yes,
Yeah.
Now We Will Speak in Flowers.
Tammy,
Cool.
have you ever written poetry?
Well, I mean, I'm sure I have at some point in my school career, but it's not a thing that I pursue, I guess.
It's cool to, I've done some
Yeah.
collaboration with a poet, Minnesota poet,
Mm.
Luann Shepherd Mom. It's kind of a cool
Oh.
process, isn't it? To either respond to it or
Mhm.
it's kind of fun to go back and forth with it too, in the collaboration. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just can really help you to go deeper, you know? Like sometimes I know I want to paint leaves, but I don't exactly know why. And sometimes a poem will give me clues to that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I actually feel like the process of poetry is really similar to painting.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, because poets they're symbolists, and they, they're not concerned about it being realistic. They're concerned about getting the idea out there, similar to especially abstract artists, I think.
Right.
Jill put the link to the book.
Oh,
Jill
thank you.
Hilliard posted a link to the Now We Speak with Flowers. It is on Amazon.
Thanks, Jill. Yeah, thank you.
And I did mention it to our local bookstore, Beagle and Wolf Books. So I'm not sure if it's on its way there, but they know about it. So they're checking into it. When was it released?
In June, just in June. And I think she said that due to COVID, the printing process is slowed down. So Mickey, the author, only has a few copies right now. And so she's gonna let me know when she has more.
Okay, great.
Yeah. And I told her about Beagle and Wolf Books, and yeah.
Oh, good. Oh, good. And I told Beagle and Wolf about her. So hopefully,
Okay, good. Hopefully they can connect.
Yeah, they love Minnesota authors, so they'll do what they can to get some copies, I'm sure.
Yeah, excellent.
Well,
This
congratulations on being your work being on the cover.
Thanks. Is that Shanda?
Yes,
Yeah, thank you. And because I can only see 4 people, but that's
Well, we know Shanda's voice.
yeah. This is one that I made on the same day that I made that other bridge, that yellow bridge at Lake Phelan. So this is a weeping willow tree that's right next to that bridge. And this was kind of a meditative, like, scribbling I think on the day I posted this, I said something about there's a difference between scribbling because you don't care and scribbling because you're finding your way. And so this is just like, just kept scribbling and looking at the tree until it sort of looked like the tree.
Yeah, that's great. See, I think
it kind
you are a poet.
yeah. Just it's kind of suggesting what's there, but yeah. I think it kind of looks like a person now that it's done. It kind of looks like a person with their arms
Right.
outstretched, but kind of a creepy person. I don't know. So, okay, but and this is up at the studio in Minneapolis. And this is one that I made a long, long time ago. I think it says 2012 on it. And I just like, you know, sometimes you find something you did a long time ago and you just like it and want to pull it out again.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember thinking that this one was a lost cause, and this one's big. This one's like 24 by 36 on canvas, acrylic, and I thought it was a lost cause, and so I just took all the paint that was left on my palette and just kind of not angrily, but what would be the right word? Just
Energetically.
Yeah, I just kind of energetically put the rest, took all the paint and just put it on the canvas, and then I stood back and I was like, oh, okay, maybe it needs a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Okay.
How
And then
about
I
with
put it-
how about with abandon? Tammy?
With abandon, that's a good
Yes.
one. Yes.
I love the color combo on it. It's,
Yeah,
I like,
it is beautiful.
I love all the texture.
Yeah.
Patty loves it too.
It's got a lot of layers to it. Yeah. Because it kept
it have a
turning into
title?
something. Is it what?
Does it have a title?
Underwater.
Oh, yeah.
Underwater. And my husband gave it that title. Because when he looked at it, he said it reminded him of being underwater, like scuba diving.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that now.
Yeah. And then, you know, underwater can mean other things too. So.
Yeah. Right. So how about sharing one more image and then we can open up for some questions and see more faces?
Okay. Yeah, let's see. Well, that was the raspberry, yeah, more raspberry leaves. Yeah, line that sort of represents what's there and a lot of wacky
yeah.
color.
Yeah.
I love that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so yeah, it looks like we are getting close to the end of our time. So if anybody, questions, throw them at me with abandon.
I'll check the Facebook. I don't see anything over there at the moment. Although Natalie Hilden also said that was beautiful, that last underwater piece there that you had, acrylic. Are you working much with acrylic at all, or just mostly watercolor right now?
My acrylics are still sitting there in my space, and once in a while I take those out. I have one that I don't have a photo of it yet because it's not at a stage yet where I'm ready to show it to anybody, but it's also maple leaves. I was making it during the time of the Fox poem.
Okay.
So I have and that one is kind of larger also. I think it's like 20 by 30 maybe, somewhere in that zone. And it's a very, very abstract tree with just a few giant maple leaves. So a lot of texture, a lot of layers. That's an acrylic one.
So you've kind of taken a hiatus from the acrylic and from then until now, so or just dabbling here and there.
Right. It's tough for me to get to the studio these days, and the studio has more space. So I'm doing more things like out of my backpack or sitting at a table in my house, and so then I tend to work smaller.
Sure.
And in the stuff that's less messy. But
how many people are in your studio?
There are 8. Yeah, and Lynn is one of them.
It's a big space. Yeah.
Yeah, it's big. Yeah. We had 9. I am very sad that one had to stop, but I'm really, that being part of that studio is just, like just such a you know, being part of that group of creatives. I'm having a hard time coming up with words because I feel like that really has been a super positive thing in my life to just be a part of that group. You
Yeah,
know, the
that-
Studio
that energy.
321 plus the whole Northrop King building, and yeah,
That's
That's awesome.
It's a great
Yeah.
space.
How
yeah.
long have you been at the Studio 321?
Since since August of last year.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Seems to
One
me
of the
that
other
time.
Yeah, one of the other artists, Lisa and Lynn, invited me to come paint there. And on one day I think it must have been in August. And they've invited me to do that in the past too. So I was like, yeah, great, well, I'll come and paint with you. And so we're sitting in there painting, and Lynn stopped me if I'm misrepresenting the story, but Lynn and Lisa started talking about what are we gonna do, because another artist had left. And they're like, well, what do we do now? You know, do we just give everybody a little bit more space, or do we look for someone? How are we going to find someone who'd be willing to take that spot? And I was like, I'd take that spot. And they're like, really? Okay. So
Yeah, that's great.
I will. So
Perfect timing.
That's
Perfect
wonderful.
timing. It was the right time for that. Yeah. And it really, I just am very grateful for that. And
I remember that moment, Tammy.
Yeah.
And I think I said, gee, Tammy, too bad you aren't in a spot where you would be interested in taking on some studio space. And then you said after half a beat, well, maybe I am. I think I might.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Awesome.
Tammy, I
That's-
have a question here from Natalie.
okay.
She says, what is the significance of leaves in your work? Any particular reason why they are so frequent for you?
Oh, well, for many, many, many years, I've been drawn to leaves. And I think it has to do, you know, I'm not sure. I've thought about this a lot, and I still don't know what the correct answer is, but or what my answer is, but it has to do with, I'm fascinated with the shapes from nature and the way that they curve, and the way you can suggest them with a simple, they can be described very simply or very complex. You know, there's always another level of complexity into them. Leaves, you can look at a leaf and you can know what species of tree it's from, but not any two of them are the same, you know, so there might be a metaphor for people there.
Well, and there's a little bit of a scientific angle too, because you usually will identify maple, raspberry, you know, not always, but
Right.
usually the kind of tree or the kind of shrub is important to you.
Yeah, usually, yep, you're right. Yeah, because like raspberries I love because of when you're out hiking, if you come across berries, then it's like bonus day, you know, like I love that. It's like a treat, you know, trail magic.
Yeah. Well, in northern Minnesota right now, there's a lot of wild raspberries.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
But I think, it's, and the plants can be metaphors for people, you know, because like how they, you know, how healthy are they, where are they growing, you know.
Yeah. That's true.
I hope that
And I
answers
love
Natalie's
how
question.
you add extra colors. I think it does. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So what other questions or comments do we have here? I hope I haven't.
Next for you, Tammy.
Oh,
But
hello?
What's next for you?
What's next for me? Oh man, this has been awesome being a part of Studio 176, and just one more week, and then what's next for me? I think I'm going to put a little bit more energy into Studio 321 at Northrop King. And then just, I don't know. I am just continuing. I'm just going to see where it takes me. I'm going to keep working on, I'm intrigued with this idea of the grid and the organic shapes. So I think I'm going to follow that thread.
Yeah, that's great.
I still love leaves, you know, and just the way that they curve and the contour lines. And I'm going to try to figure out more about the answer to the question, why leaves? Because I mean, I'm interested in them. So I'm going to
Right.
keep making them and we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
but I think
I heard you mention social media. So where can people find you?
paint and hike. So I think my, let's see. So at paint.and.hike, I think is, you can go to paintandhike.com and everything you need to know is there. On my Instagram and my Facebook, the link in the profile takes you to my sign up for my email newsletter, which also has a link to paintandhike.com. That's where you can read my blog posts about the different places I've hiked. So that's
Great.
an important part of my creative process also.
Okay, cool.
Tell us about Art-A-Whirl. What is that
Art-A-Whirl
in the Northrop King building, right?
Right. So I'm thinking almost 25 years, every May, the Northrop King building had Art-A-Whirl when thousands of people came to Northrop King building and walked through all the galleries. They couldn't do that this year, so they put up this website, and now it's not just for Art-A-Whirl time, it's all the time. So now that is my main site where you can purchase my work if you want to. So you would go to artawhirl.org. Yep, artawhirl.org, and you can search my name. And there's hundreds of artists on that site. And yeah, the people
All right,
that
and that's in Minneapolis. Hopefully someday we'll be all opened up again. But
yeah,
artawhirl.org.
artawhirl.org. And the Northrop King building is open, and each studio can decide if they're going to open or not. Studio 321 currently is only open by appointment, but other studios are open regular hours. And so you just find out from them. Mm-hmm.
Great.
Cool.
Can you share that link, that last link one more time, and I'll throw it here in the comments on Facebook.
Oh, sure.
Oh, the Art-A-Whirl? The Art-A-Whirl?
Artawhirl.org.
Okay.
Okay, artawhirl.org. Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you could / Tammy-Nara, but you know, that might be a little too complicated.
/ Tammy, what?
/ Tammy-Nara.
That sounds violent. Okay.
I know.
Say, Tammy, the last piece you had up, the raspberry tree bush, was that on UFO paper too, or watercolor?
Nope, that one is on regular watercolor paper.
Okay. I really liked the way you played with the background so loosely and then brought in the control of the ink line.
Oh,
That's very
thank you.
nice. Yeah.
Thanks. It's good to add a little purple in here and there. Yeah.
Purple goes everywhere.
Yeah, and it doesn't go muddy, and that's why I
That's
don't do
hard.
watercolor. Yeah. I can't control
Yeah,
it.
and great for shadows. So great for shadows. Do you pretty much stick with Arches, or does it vary? Arches watercolor paper?
It varies. Arches is good. Stonehenge is good. Hahnemühle is another one that's good. Yeah, so a lot of good papers out there. So wet paint, I'm going to put in a plug for wet paint. The art supply store in St. Paul. They have such knowledgeable people.
Are they open yet, or is it still curbside?
Curbside, I believe.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know for a fact the most recent, but
When I was down
still
there
is.
2 weeks ago. Oh, is it? Okay.
Now, how often do you go on your hikes?
Well, that's a good question. It depends on the definition of hike. So mostly I've been doing day hikes. I haven't done any overnight hikes for a long time, but my goal is to do 10 miles a week. And usually that's 2 hikes in a week, sometimes 3, sometimes 4. Some weeks I do more than 10. Most
if you
weeks
follow Tammy, you've seen like, in the winters, Tammy, I'm so impressed with, there'll be like a foot of snow, or it'll be
Mm,
It'll be 20
I love
miles.
that.
She's still out there. She's like,
Oh,
nobody
man.
else is out there. So she gets it
Stops you.
to herself that way.
I love hiking in the winter. Yes, because especially if you're the first one out on a trail after the snow, and if it's got a little crunch to it, that's pretty neat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you add variety when you hike,
Yeah,
or do you
that's
have
right.
a couple
That's
few
pretty
favorite
cool.
spots?
I like to have variety as much as
Yeah.
possible. It depends on, my time schedule. But during COVID, I've been searching out places close to my home. I found lots of places close to my home that I love that I didn't know were there before. And like,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, I walked the 10 miles between the Mississippi River and a park close to my house. Just kind of tried to find a route that would go through the most parks. That was fun. My husband did that with me.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you keep a sketchbook.
Yes. Yes, I have a crate full of filled up sketchbooks. And sometimes I do go through them, and sometimes I edit them. Like sometimes I go through and rip out the pages that I don't think are useful to me and keep the ones that I think I might want to look at again. Yeah.
Do you
Yeah,
keep
how
a
about you?
couple different sizes?
My sketchbooks are generally 5 by 7 because that's a good size to carry with you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sure.
Mary Kay is in a sketch group, right?
Oh,
Yes.
Did you help
The-
start it?
It's the Urban Sketchers, and it's international, actually.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
There are urban sketchers all over the place, but it's great. And of course, we've been virtual lately, so
Yeah.
so
we
maybe.
sketch around the house or outside in the yard, silly
Yeah.
stuff. But
Oh,
yeah,
if it's
fun.
virtual, that means anybody can join in,
So
right?
Memphis,
Oh,
you're in the
yes.
Memphis group. But have you ever met up with other groups?
I have not particularly, but I know several of my friends who, when they visit Chicago or other cities, will get with a group and go out sketching with them. And then they have these international conferences. I don't think they call them a conference, but the one this year had to be canceled, of course, but I understand they're magnificent. So one of these days I'll do that. So there are all sorts of workshops and, and
Yeah.
it's usually in a really good walking city. So, so you can really get the urban experience then. So yeah, it's great. I
Awesome.
love sketching and I love sketchbooks.
I like it as an anchor, like an anchor to keep the creative process going, Like maybe I can't commit to setting up a whole paint station, but I can pull out my sketchbook and I can, and then once I get started, then it's easier to like take the next
Right.
step and start making a work of art. Yeah.
Mhm.
Not
So
that the
we
sketchbook
have-
isn't, but
Yeah. It can be too. There have been great exhibits of sketchbooks.
yeah,
We have
sketchbook as art.
about 4 minutes left. So I just don't want to run out of time without thanking you, Tammy, for being a part of this month.
Thank you for making me at ease for this Zoom meeting. My whole family knows I've been stressing about this event for quite a while, so thank
You
you
did great.
thank you for helping me, make it run smoothly and made it easy for me to talk. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I love your stories. I love your poetic work, visual work, and how you use words to describe it too. So I knew you'd do great, and you did.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm at my dad's house. My dad has good Wi-Fi connection. So it's that's good too.
Better than at home.
Better than at home. Mm-hmm.
All right. Any last comments?
This was fun. This was fun.
Well, thanks for sharing, Tammy. And
Oh, thanks.
Thanks, Shanda.
It's great. You guys are awesome.
Keep following us. Come visit us sometime.
Well, I'm over north of Crosby, so.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Are you living there full time?
Well, this summer I am. And
Yeah.
so
Okay.
I'm putzing around. I've been doing a lot of stuff with twigs and and lights and metal and things like that.
Oh, sculpture. Okay, we got to talk about sculpture.
Well, it's like garden stuff. You know, I'm
Oh.
always scrounging for birch and
Oh, yeah.
a lot of things I've done that way. So, but I'm always working in a sketchbook. Like Tammy said, it's like where you capture your ideas.
Yeah. Tammy, is your dad joining us too? Is that your dad?
I think he's listening from the next room.
Oh, well, I see a Harry Nara, so okay.
Oh, I think that,
No, that's your father-in-law.
nope.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No, that's my husband. He
Okay.
just has Harry on there as his name. As his name, his
And
Zoom name.
Carol, I'm gonna unmute you.
Hi, Carol.
Okay.
Hey, good to
Carol
see you.
Johnson.
Well, good to
Hi,
hear. Good to
Carol
hear you,
Johnson.
Carol.
Thanks so much for making our world a more beautiful place in oh so many ways, Tammy Nara.
All right, thanks you, Carol. Carol is the queen of building people up. She's the bringer of joy. Yes.
Yeah, and you're hilarious tonight too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us. Do you have any
Thank you.
Tammy, or like inspiration for us for our work? No pressure.
Yeah, right.
Right.
No, this was lovely. Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Yes.
So
I
much.
enjoyed
I actually am leaving
Thanks for
very
coming.
inspired. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Come
everybody.
visit us sometime. Also, our website is studio176.art.
I will get one of these days.
Great. Yeah.
I would love to this next week, but we have a wedding and graduation party coming up, so it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, the
Get
social
around.
events are starting again, carefully. Well, thank you, everybody. I'm going to end this meeting, but
Come see Tammy tomorrow at Studio
Yes.
76.
Yep, I'll be there tomorrow.
1 to 3? 1 to 3?
11
right.
to 3 tomorrow.
Or 11?
11 to 3 tomorrow, and then I think next week too. Probably
Oh, good.
next week, Thursday,
last-
Friday.
Okay. Last 2 days of the month.
Yep,
And paintandhike.com.
paintandhike.com.
Great. Thanks
Hey.
a lot.
Thanks, Tammy.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Yep, bye-bye.